Okay, so we've all been in this situation, right? A manager makes a decision, they give you a reason, but something about it just feels off. Well, today we're going to unpack the science behind those really frustrating justifications you hear at work, and we're going to give you the tools to see them for what they really are.
It's a feeling a lot of us know. A decision comes down that affects you personally. A reason is given, but your gut is just screaming that it's not the real reason. You know? It feels hollow, maybe even totally random. This explainer is all about decoding that exact moment.
All right, to really get to the heart of this, the source material gives us a hypothetical scenario, but one that is super relatable. Let's follow the story of an employee named John.
So here's our guy, John. He's hardworking, he's ambitious, and he's got a very clear goal in his sights. He wants to move up in the company, and he's been putting in the time and the effort for years.
And look, John does everything you're supposed to do. He's not just sitting back and waiting. He is actively boosting his performance, his tangible, measurable output. And on top of that, he goes out and gets a whole new qualification to make himself an even stronger candidate. I mean, he is checking all the right boxes. And then, the moment of truth finally arrives. The promotion he has been working so hard for is announced, and it goes to someone else. You can just imagine the feeling. All that extra work, the new degree, it's like it all counted for nothing.
So when John asks for an explanation, this is the reason he gets from his manager. You lack certain social skills. I mean, how vague is that? It's subjective and it feels completely disconnected from all the concrete, measurable things John has done. This is the justification that feels wrong, and this is the puzzle we're here to solve. So here's the crucial point. This isn't just a simple decision. What's really happening here is a conflict. It's a clash between two completely different arguments, two competing claims about what's fair and what's legitimate.
On one side, you've got John's claim of unfairness. He's essentially arguing, hey, based on the evidence, I do not deserve this outcome. But on the other side, the manager is making a claim of legitimation, basically arguing, my action is totally proper, it's justified, and it's acceptable.
Okay, now what's so cool about this is that we can actually move beyond just feeling like something is off. The source paper gives us this awesome detective's toolkit from argumentation theory to actually dissect these claims and see what they're really made of.
First things first, let's get our terms straight. Legitimation, that's just what managers do when they try to make their actions seem right and proper. It's an attempt to get you and everyone else in the organization to agree that their decision was totally okay.
And the tool they use for this is rhetoric. Now, this isn't about force or twisting your arm. It's about using the art of argument to persuade you, to build a case that makes you go, okay, yeah, I get it. But here's the twist. Sometimes that really carefully constructed argument is nothing more than a smokescreen. It's an attempt to look like a justification, but it has no real, genuine reasoning behind it. The paper calls this a pseudo-legitimization, and it's exactly what John suspects he's facing.
All right, so let's take these tools and apply them directly to John's situation. We're going to put both his argument and his manager's argument right under the microscope and see what we can find.
John's argument? Well, it's built on cold, hard facts. His increased output and his new certificate are undeniable. He connects these facts with what seems like a totally logical conclusion. More contribution should lead to promotion. The paper calls this a quasi-logical argument. It feels rational, right? Like A plus B should equal C. But the manager does something completely different. They just sidestep John's facts entirely, and instead, they create a brand new framework out of thin air. They argue that some subjective ideal employee model exists, and the key thing in this model is something John supposedly lacks. So they're not even trying to refute John's logic, they're creating a whole new reality where his logic doesn't even apply. And this slide just illustrates the real conflict here perfectly. John is arguing using the logic of quantity, more work, more skills. The manager hits back with the logic of quality, a unique, unmeasurable, totally subjective skill. I mean, they're speaking two completely different languages of value. So the paper lays out these different argument types in this super handy table. Now notice where John's argument falls. It's quasi-logical, right there at the top. It appears rational, but his manager doesn't even engage on that level. Instead, they jump all the way down to the third type, inventing a new structure of reality with this ideal employee model. Like the slide says, they're not even playing the same game. So, okay, this is more than just some interesting academic theory. How can you actually use this in your own life?
How can you tell if a justification you're hearing is a genuine reason, or if it's just a pseudo-argument designed to shut you down?
The philosopher Chaim Perelman, whose work this whole paper is built on, really gets to the heart of it. A fair decision can't just be random. It has to be based on some kind of reason, even if we don't all agree with that reason. It has to have actual substance.
And that right there is your key. The paper suggests you perform a reality check. Is this reason the manager gave to John applied consistently? For example, did the person who did get the promotion perfectly embody these social skills? Have past promotions all been based on this same unique quality? If the answer is no, then you might just be looking at a pseudo-legitimation.
So here it is, your takeaway toolkit. Next time you hear a justification first, listen for the type of argument they're using. Are they using facts and logic like John, or are they creating a whole new model like his manager? Then identify the values. Is this about quantity or quality? And most importantly, ask yourself, is this logic applied consistently, or was it just conveniently invented for this one situation? Remember, a real reason has roots. A pseudo-argument is just a mask.
And that leaves us with a final, really powerful question. Now that you have this toolkit, the next time you're given a justification that just doesn't sit right, you can look past the surface. Is this an attempt to explain reality, or is it an attempt to create a new one just for this moment? Are you being given a reason, or are you just being managed?